Hi YouTube, please give me a moment while I connect to Facebook. We'll be getting started shortly. And I think we should be live on Facebook. Hi everybody. Welcome to the Strategic Swing Trader Weekly Broadcast. I am Sami, Director of Education at T3 Live. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the last bit of the long weekend. Before we start, as always, a standard required disclaimer to let you know that trading is risky and that whatever we discuss in this video is for educational purposes only. If you're new to our channel, be sure to download an amazing free ebook. Link for that is in the description. We're going to talk about the market. I'm gonna share with you and go over with you my watch list for tomorrow. And if you find benefit in today's video, be sure to hit the like button. If you have any questions, leave a comment or reach out to us by emailing customer service info@t3live.com. All right, here we go. So this is the daily chart of the Qs, all-time high. Daily chart of the SPY, pretty much all-time high. I mean, what's there not to like, right? Okay, away from the 20, so we could come in a little bit, retest the 20 before continuing higher. We could, but that doesn't mean we're not bullish. We're at all-time high. I mean, we're definitely bullish. The only exception, as always, the IWM likes to be unique, likes to do its own thing. It's really been basing for 2 or 3 months and has not gotten out of the base. It's not even at the top of the base. It's still like halfway through it. So the IWM is a completely different story. Here's the weekly chart. Overall bullish, but we did have like a breakout failure there. Here's the Qs weekly. Here's the SPY weekly. I mean, they look amazing. So my bias is going to be bullish when it comes to the Qs and the SPY, neutral when it comes to the IWM. Ultimately, I try to find plays that are on their own page so that I am not constrained or I'm not controlled by the market, so to speak. In terms of those plays that are on their own page, here's what I got for you. AFRM, which I talked about multiple times, and we got back in it. I don't know if it was here or here, but we got in it before it reported earnings, played it as an earnings play, and still have it. Looks amazing. That's the weekly, and here's the monthly. AFRM probably headed back up to 160. Reason why I'm mentioning it again is because it has an hourly base breakout. If you're not in it already, stop would be, you have to give it a lot of room under this bar's low on the AFRM, which is 72.93. ACHR, it sure looks higher. So ACHR, I would say long over 1060, stop under 860. That's a big stop. You can use a tighter stop if you want. Maybe go to the weekly and put it under the weekly bar's low, which is 898 rather than 865. So ACHR Archer looks higher. ADPT, I also like it on the larger time frames. The entry for it should have been over that big bottoming tail bar's high. I did not see it at that time. Boom, popped. Now it has kind of a 1, 2, 3. So long over 875, stop under 819. Since it's not exactly a 1, 2, 3 setup, I would give it room to under this bar's low. So under 8. And then the entry would be over the highs. Okay, stop instead of 819, I'd give it all the way down to 805. BCRX looks pretty good on the weekly. It's a weekly 1, 2, 3. Long over 911. Stop under 850. Maybe target $10, but that wouldn't be all that much. So I'm hoping it actually blows through the 200. But at the moment, that looks like the next possible target area. 3D doesn't look like it's ready yet, but it's looking pretty interesting. So here's the 3D. Looks like it wants to go back up to retest maybe $6 or so. So again, I don't have an exact entry for this one, but I'm watching it. And so I figured I'd just share it with you. Okay? FMC, not too sure that it's going to pop, but if it does, it would be a nice hourly base breakout. So over the base, stop under it. So over the highest point, which is 37.20, stop under 35.90, and target would be the declining 20 on the daily chart. when it reaches it, if it reaches it. FVRR, it hasn't gotten going yet because it's still inside of that nice big rounded base, but that's precisely why I like it, because because it has that big rounded base. It's like the Roku did before it reported and gapped above it, right? Roku's an open position in the newsletter. It's like ZM, which is also an open position, right? So on the monthly, same exact thing on the FVRR. It needs to take out at least, oops, I wrote over it. So FVRR, it needs to at least take out this bar's high. So over 33.50, tighter stop would be under 30.98. So 33.50 by 30.98. If you want to give it more room, give it to 29.30 as a long-term play on the FVRR. Redfin is a little bit weak, but you know what? They all look weak initially before they pop. Has a nice rounded bottom, so long over $9. Basically, stop under 790 or 750.58. Up to you. So this is a difficult one. Has a declining 20 on the weekly, deep pullback on the monthly, but looks interesting. It does over $9. Perhaps the strongest is the SOC. Let's hope it doesn't suck. Let's hope it doesn't suck. I like it higher, over 31.60. Tightest stop would be under 28.95. It's a big stop. If you want to use a slightly wider stop, 28.37. But since it's a nice hourly pivot, I don't think there's really a real reason to give it all the way down to 28.37. Stella is a little bit difficult because it's an ADR and it's a gappy stock, trades with all these dots and spots on the daily chart, but it sure looks higher on the daily, weekly, and even the monthly. Looks ready for a bounce back up to here. So I like the Stella long over this bar's high, 14, let's say 14.25. Yeah, that's 14.23. Stop under the bottoming tail bar's low, which is $13. Target about 16 or so, okay? On the Stella. Those are some of the longs that I like for tomorrow. Here's some of the shorts that I like for tomorrow. The ASPN gap down on earnings and now has a nice kind of hourly base breakdown. It needs to take out Friday's low, stop above 950. Okay? ILMN, you're going to see a common theme. It's a gap down and then a base breakdown. So ILMN under the base, stop above it. Okay, on the hourly chart. ERM looks better. This is probably my favorite. It's a 1, 2, 3. Short under 93.95. Stop over 96.93. 90, whatever, over 97. So it's a $3 stop. $3 stop, target all the way down to $80. It really has room to $80. I'm not saying it's going to get there tomorrow, but it has a lot of room. This is beautiful. LESL, beautiful also, but low price. But check it out. We did the IRWD last week. What was also a small stock. 1, 2, 3, short, and trail to 19, I think, or 17. This bar's high. Oh, I'm sorry. What's 19? It's 180. And then boom. It actually looks slower again. But this is similar. Gap down and it's base, so I like it under the base, stop above it. Okay, it's not as tight of a base. I would have liked it to be a little bit tighter, but that's okay. Under $1.54.55, stop over $1.76. The SOUN we traded in the room on Friday. I called it in the room, did extremely well on it. On the SOUN and the SERV, they were both similar gaps, and that was the call on that. I don't remember if it was on the sell setup or the breakdown, but it was really nice. And then the other one was the SERV. They both look identical. The SERV moved a little bit too much to like it to follow up on it for tomorrow, but I like the SOUN short more as a day trade probably than a swing trade under 1040. Here's the SERV that I'm talking about. It's SCRV. Looks slower also, but it moved quite a bit. The SOUN moved a little bit less, and those are the ones that I tend to follow up on the next day. So if a gap that you really like didn't move all that much, then follow up, watch it the next day. If it moved a lot, then the next day will likely be a narrow range bar. So LESL moved a lot on the day of the gap, then the next day probably is not a good idea to trade it. SOUN, I think it might be okay. If it can break under 1040, maybe gets down to the 200 MA. UNH is a weekly sell setup. So that's not a bad looking short to 500 bucks. Okay, so where's the entry and the stop on this? Well, go back to the daily. So short under the SPARS low. It's 521.90. Stop, the tightest would be 534.35. And target 500 maybe gets down to 480 as target 2. XRX, incredibly weak. I hope it reports soon because I really like it as a short, as an earnings play short. But the longer it bases, the better it becomes. Notice how it tried to go higher here and failed. So I like it short. I don't think it's quite ready yet, but under the base, stop above it. I'm hoping it goes sideways for a few more days to allow that declining 20 on the daily to catch up. And that is my list for tomorrow. As always, I post my entire watch list in the video description for your convenience. But I like to go over I like to highlight just a few items that I think are ready to go the next day. And so those were the ones that I liked the most for tomorrow. As always, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have, be sure to hit the like button, reach out to us, info@t3live.com, and best of luck with your trading this week. I'm Sami Absaad with T3 Live. Good trading, everybody. Bye-bye.